Hello YouTube, we're on the Real Programming channel. I'm its host, my name is Andrei. I greet you, welcome you. This is our 13th lesson. It's about HTML and PHP MySqL. We will talk about get connected with MySqL_connect. For our PHP script to be able to create a connection to the database with MySqL_connect and with two brackets function, you'll need a few pieces of information that you're starting to get very familiar with. Yes, it's the same information you used earlier when working with the MySqL terminal plus the name of that database. Okay, and don't forget, remember please, you will find all the code and materials of this lesson under this video in the description link to Google Drive. Connect with MySqL Connect. 1. 2. Assemble the query string. 3. Execute the query with MySqL query. 4. Close the connection with MySqL close. Who? Your username and password. You'll need your own username and the password for your own database server. This will either be set up by you or given to you by your web hosting company when MySqL is first installed. If you set up your own MySqL, follow the instructions to give yourself a secure username and password. What? The name of your database. In your example, we've named the database Alien Database. Yours will be whatever name you decided to give it when you set up earlier. Or if your web hosting company created your database for you, you'll be using that name. Where the location of database, the domain name, an IP address or a local host. In our example, we're using the location of Owen's functional database. You'll need to use the location of your own MySqL server. Often this is location localhost. If the database server is on the same machine as your web server, your web hosting company will be able to tell you this. It may also be an IP address or a domain name like on such as your server.yourrisp.com. The location, username, password, name of the MySqL database in the MySqL_connect function must all have quotes around them. This is our code, not this. The MySqL Connect function treats the location, username, password and the database name as a string, so you must quote them. Use the variable to perform other action on the database. Username, password, database name, location of the database. The result of calling the function is a database connection and a PHP variable that you can use to interact with the database. The variable is named $dbc in the example, but you can name in anything you like. Exercise. Here are some examples of PHP database connection strings. Look at each one and then write down whether or not it will work and how to fix it. Also circle any of the code you find problematic. And exercise. Be ready for a solution, this exercise. If not, take a pause. This is our solution. The connection string will work. And this is our solution. You'll need a semicolon here to terminate the PHP statement, and so on. Okay, it seems like it would be easy to screw up on the pieces of information used to connect to the database. How do I know for sure if the connection worked? This is where the PHP die function comes in handy. The PHP die function terminates a PHP script and provides feedback about code the field. While it won't really reveal precisely what went wrong, die with brackets tells us that something up. and that we need to fix it. If something wrong with one of the 4 connection variables for MySQL Connect, or if the database server can be located, the die function will stop the rest of the PHP script from running and show the error message in a parenthesis. Okay. This is our code. So, that die with brackets function is called the connection isn't created. This message is echoed to the web page if the connection fails. If one of our 4 strings in the MySQL Connect function isn't right, we'll get feedback. A semicolon isn't necessary here since our die is technically a continuation of a single statement. Okay, so we've got a PHP database connection. Now what? Can we just start using queries as if we're inside the MySQL terminal? Yes, once you made a database connection with MySQL Connect, you can issue SQL queries directly from PHP. Nearly everything you can do in the MySQL terminal, you can do in the PHP code with database connection you now made. This connection that establishes a line of communication between a PHP script and a MySQL database. For example, now that Owen has a connection to his database, he can start inserting data into the LNS abduction table with the MySQL query function and some SQL query code. Remember, our goal is to automate this insert query using PHP code. The SQL query is passed to MySQL query as a PHP string. The MySQL query function needs and SQL query stored in a PHP string $query and order to carry out the insertion of LN abduction data. Build the insert query in PHP. SQL queries in a PHP are represented as a string, and it's customary to store a query and the string before passing it along to the MySQL query function. Since SQL queries can be fairly long, it's often necessary to construct a query string from smaller things that span multiple lines of code. Owen's insert query is a good example of this. This is a PHP string variable that holds the insert query. The period tells PHP to tag this string onto this string on the next line. This is our code. No, not this. This. Our code. Okay. And since this entire piece of code is PHP code, it must be terminated with a semicolon. The query string broken across multiple lines to make the query more readable. The periods tell PHP to turn this into one big string. The period tells PHP to tag this string into the string on the text line. With the insert query stored in a string, you're ready to pass it along to the MySQL _query function and actually carry out the insertion. There are no dumb questions. Why is an insert into the database called a query? Doesn't query mean we're asking the database for something? Yes, query doesn't mean you're asking for something. You're asking the database to do something. In MySQL database applications, the word query is quite general, referring to any SQL command you perform on a database, including both storing and retrieving data. Why isn't the insert statement just created as one big string? Keep in mind that the insert statement is stored as one big string, even though it is created for multiple smaller strings. Ideally, the insert statement would be coded as a single string. But like many SQL statements, the insert statement is quite long and doesn't fit on a normal line of code. So it's easier to read the query string of its coded as smaller strings that are related together with periods. Is it really necessary to list the column names when doing an insert? No, you can leave all of the column names in the insert statements, in which case you must provide values for all of the columns in the table in the same order that they appears in the table structure. Knowing this is generally safer and more convenient to specify the column names. And acquire the MySqL database with PHP. We'll talk about this in the next lesson. This is here the 15th lesson about HTML. PHP MySqL is over. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, please. Do exercise, share with friends, comment, meditate, and drink more water for the brain. Eat bananas, chocolate, and nuts, and do exercise every evening, preferably after you have done all the work. Thank you. Bye. That's all.